So yeah, I've got Budakid on today, and I'm speaking to Kevin from his studio in Berlin, back with 2 brand new tracks on Exploited, which I'm very excited about. How are you doing, Kevin? How's things?
I'm doing fine so far. Like, of course, bit struggling with lockdown, but everyone is at the moment. So I cannot complain. I'm locking myself up in the studio, seeing friends outside, going for a walk. At the moment, I feel like I spend more time with my friends, which is also giving me a positive side on the situation. Yeah, I think so far so good. Cannot complain. Yeah.
Because you're from the Netherlands, aren't you? But you're based in Berlin. So is behind you, is that your kind of, do you live and work in your studio?
So my situation is more like my bed is here on this side. Actually, I produce and do everything in my room. I have one room.
Yeah.
I first had my studio outside, but it's also like, I don't know, music is for me a hobby. And if I walk out my bed, then I want to create music or something like this. If I have an idea, then I want to go into my studio directly. But if I have to walk for 30 minutes, then I'm distracted by other things, and then I lost the idea already. Yeah. So I know for myself, it's much better to have everything like close by, to create everything on spot, and not like make it more of I don't know, to take it too serious, because it's a hobby for me still. Yeah. I see. Yeah.
So you can literally, jump out of bed when you have that late night idea. Walk into the next room and then put it down. And I've seen pictures of your kind of setup. I think I've seen videos or pictures over the last year or so. You've got a lot of kit going on there. Lots of stuff to play around with.
Yeah, I like to play. I mostly jam on my piano, which is standing here. It's pretty hard to see. I can also not turn it. But, I have to say, I don't like to have a studio full of stuff because it's distracting me of creating stuff. Sometimes it's nice to create something out of a coincidence, but mostly I compose with a piano in harmonies and melodies. So yeah. I'm not a big gear guy. Mostly I had this in mind and thought like, hey, I need to get this and this and this. And then I had it and I was like, shit, I'm never using it. So at the end, I'm like, yeah, maybe the essentials are, I don't know, a piano, and that's it. Yeah. The rest is all in the box.
And how's it been being based in Berlin? Because obviously Berlin is just a hub of partying and music and nights out and DJs and selectors, and certainly when we get into spring and summer, there's kind of parties normally, like pre-pandemic parties everywhere, and Berghain obviously is kind of one of the best clubs in the whole world. How has it been? Has it been quite a strange time to be there? And what's the mood like? I mean, I guess people must just be desperate to party at this point.
Yeah, sure. Like the last couple of weeks, you already notice that people gather on the streets, and sometimes you think like it gets a bit out of hand because they meet with like 400 or 500 people in parks and stuff. And then I'm like, okay. I don't know. I'm having a double feeling about it because I totally understand it. We also have to be a bit responsible for a situation. And sometimes it feels like, I don't know, people are really like eager to party in a way. And I totally understand. And you also feel it on the streets. And but I think we still have to be a bit careful. For sure.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet, are we? I mean, if 500 people gathered in the UK, it would be big trouble at this point. But it's still quite strict here at the moment. So it's
friends out of Amsterdam, and they had. I'm not sure if you know the Vondelpark. It's a park inside of Amsterdam, and there were also like gatherings last weekend, I think, because the sun was out for the first time. and they were meeting up with like thousands of people. That's like ridiculous in a way, but you also notice that people are really done with the situation and they want to see each other again.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
well, yeah.
So you're back with 2 new tracks. And
Yeah.
I should say, yeah, the last time we spoke was around Walkman. How long ago was that? Maybe 2019, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so.
2019?
Now it's 2020. I
Or maybe
think.
early 2020,
Yeah.
yeah. And you very kindly gave me the world exclusive first play on the radio here in the UK. Well, no, around the world actually.
Yeah, yeah.
But I loved that track, and it's the same kind of feeling I think with Ringo Bingo. Just
Yeah.
it's just that perfect kind of cosmic house track that reminds me of like all the stuff I love about Lindstrom and Todd Terje and Lauren Garnier and all that, just kind of festival track that you want to hear towards the end of a set, dancing in a field with friends.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny to say it because sometimes I don't notice the I see there's different projects, but if other people say, hey, those tracks are fitting together, then I'm always like pleased to hear it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, because sometimes you create something and then it's like, maybe it's too weird or too abstract, and then I skip on it. But it's nice to hear that you think it's also like family of each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
How did it come together, and how did you kind of get that spark of inspiration for this one?
Like Ringo Bingo was more of a jam, and it was layered with a lot of harmonies and melodies, and I don't know, it was just a jam that I did, and I played some piano on it, and I was like, yeah, it's quite interesting, but it's not there yet. So I was sitting around and thought like, hey, maybe I can ask an old friend from my music studies back in the days, who studied keys, and he's quite a good jazz musician. So I asked him like, hey, I have an idea for a track, but I need a proper solo on it. So he said like, yeah, sure, send it over. And he sent me back to MIDI, and I was directly like, okay, the direction is clear now. I directly had an idea where to go. So I built a whole track around this solo actually. And this is actually how the track came into a certain structure. Because it's not a regular club track, I think. It's pretty hard to play also in a DJ set because it's pretty in your face. And the solo is really taking, I don't know, I really love it if I hear it, but I can imagine that some people don't like it because it's too abstract for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like it myself, and I will love to play it when it's possible again.
I think the reaction to this live would be epic. I think it would be amazing because you can just because it's kind of a mixture of like, you know, jazz sounds, house sounds. It's got that kind of the rave keys on it, but then also it feels quite clubby. It's I would lose my mind to this 100%. Maybe that's because I'm very starved of any fun at this point, but you know.
It's pretty hard to imagine, like, because I'm sitting in my studio creating music, but there's no purpose of creating dance music at the moment. So I still make kind of club music, and I think sometimes like, but if there's no club open, why shall I do this? And it's pretty hard to imagine people dancing on this music at the moment. So I think if I get a response in a club like next year or this year maybe, then I will get out of my mind and get totally nuts.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk a bit about how you kind of started in music, because you were baby Budakid. You were a drummer, weren't you? You're a drummer in a drum ensemble, and kind of then got your first sort of taste of beats and then making beats. When was the moment that like it was essentially unlocked for you? Was that discovering like a bit of software like Ableton or something? Like at what point did you suddenly get into actually making electronic music?
So I started actually playing the drums when I was, I think, 6 or 5 years old. No, 6, I think. Years old in a drum ensemble. Just walking on the street with a snare drum. And then, like, at the age of 12, my cousin introduced me to Fruity Loops. And he said, like, hey, Kev, you can play the drums on a computer. And as a kid, of course, you're totally into new stuff and like to explore new things. And especially, I like back in the days a lot of gear and game consoles and stuff like this. And this was for me kind of the combination of a game console, but you can create music with it. It was like everything in one box, and it got me in a way. So it was, instead of playing games, now making music, because it was so much fun. Yeah, and I think that was the point where I fell in love with making music in a way. Yeah.
So it was called Fruity Loops. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Fruity?
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard of it. Did you? You're still not making music on that, are you? Or like, is that still?
Thanks to Ableton when I was 16, I think.
Yeah.
But Fruity Loops was more, I think, Timberland and stuff produced in Fruity Loops back in the days.
Really?
So this was also like, yeah, they also do it, and if they can do it, then I will also try to do it.
Yeah.
So I was really motivated back then. And then Ableton came on my way, and the way of sketching and arranging in Ableton was for me like the perfect solution of creating music, I think.
Yeah. And then you were DJing as well, weren't you? You were kind of a resident in Utrecht, and not even legal age.
Yeah,
yes.
It's true. It was weird because it came all kind of natural. I was like 12, 13 years old when I started to make music. But back then I was also going to clubs, like child clubs, and then at 14, 15 years old to bigger clubs.
Yeah.
But then I also noticed, like, hey, if I can DJ my own tracks, that will be epic. So there was the interest of also DJing coming in. So I bought myself a Behringer controller, like the cheapest ones, and practice on this and try to mix everything in together. And then somebody asked me, hey, Kev, you want to play on my birthday party? And I was thinking, like, okay, let's do it. And I think that was the first party where I played in front of people, and it really got me in a way, like creating a vibe to make everyone happy in a way, or give a certain emotion to a group of people. I think this is this really got me, and especially when you then play your own tracks in this environment, it's for me the perfect. I don't know, perfect. It's a gift in a way. I think, yeah. We also went to a club sometimes, and there was a guy who we were seeing like every week, and he was at a certain point like, hey, you want to play for us? And back then, it's a funny story because he also booked Hardwell and Afrojack and all those EDM guys back in the days, and I was also like on the same lineups than those people. So it was like, I was a bit odd to them because I was playing more tech house minimal stuff back then. And they were like playing full EDM style. But still, like, it's a funny memory to think about it back. That I was in this, I don't know, in this atmosphere and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so grouped in with those DJs. Yeah, that's kind of strange, because that's quite hardcore EDM. Hardwell is like.
Yeah, but even if it's style, it's it was a funny way to start because everyone doing their own style, and it's good music, but it's not my taste. So it's funny to see how everyone popped off from there.
What other things do you listen to? Like, what do you who would you kind of say your biggest influences music wise?
At the moment or in general?
Just general, but or both, yeah.
So at the moment, I don't know. I listen to everything. Like I really like Radiohead.
Oh,
Um, I listen to it a lot. I don't listen that much dance music, to be honest, or club music. If I listen to club music, it's a bit more abstract stuff. Um, like Lorne, you know Lorne?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think.
It's a kind of, what is it? It's a kind of, it's beats, but a bit dark in a way. But
Mm.
the vibe that he catches every time is really, I don't know, it catches me. In a way, it's like watching a movie with your ears.
Yeah.
uh, Also, like Snarky Puppy, those guys are impressive. Tame Impala, like I don't know. I listen to everything and I take out bits that speak to me as an inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Would you ever remix Radiohead, or is it just
of course,
too
but I'm not.
too
I'm
good?
not. If I'm able to, like, the the music is too good because it fits my taste one on one. So I'm not sure if I can make the music better. I can make it more playable, maybe for myself. So this is maybe a way to remix it
Yeah.
for myself. But yeah, I'm not sure if I will touch the diamonds.
Yeah, the Holy Grail. Yeah. I'm a huge Radiohead fan. I listen to a stupid amount of Radiohead still
Yeah.
now.
What's your favorite?
Lockdown, I can't, I will never tire. There's every single album of theirs. I just will never ever tire of it. I just love them.
Yeah,
And
very
I think,
impressive.
yeah, so impressive. I think it's probably quite hard to cover them, but actually, um, there have been a couple of really good ones. Kelly Lee Owens kind of incorporated, I think it was Weird Fishes into one of her tracks. I don't know if you've heard of her, Kelly Lee Owens. She's a
No.
female producer here in the UK, and she's really, really good, like electronic. She sings
Mhm.
as well, so it's quite ethereal, but then she also, it's some of it is quite sort of heavy techno sounds. But she's really good, and she did a little take on Radiohead, and then a singer here called Leanne LaHavis, who's got
Yeah,
the most beautiful voice. She's done one of my favorite covers of Weird Fishes.
really. I will check
Yeah,
it.
and those are just in the last like 2 or 3 years, but previously I don't know if I'd really heard that many people kind of take it on. Actually, also there's a really good remix of Reckoner, which is one of my favorite Radiohead songs, and
Mhm.
that Marabou State did on a kind of Fabric Live remixed album.
Yeah,
That was really good.
yeah. You
People are
know,
getting a bit braver with the Radiohead
yeah.
covers.
But also, there are a lot of remixes on "Everything Is in the Right Place."
Oh, so good.
Yeah, and
So good.
this is pretty nice what they did with this one because they made it more playable in a 4/4 grid, kind of. So if you play it like in a club, everyone knows it, of course, and then it's like, I don't know, you create a moment of togetherness
Yeah.
for everyone. I think this is unique. Yeah.
Yeah. Who did that remix of Everything in its Right Place? Do you know who?
I heard was from Reinier Zonneveld. It's a friend from Amsterdam, uh,
Oh,
and it's a quite good remix. But there are several remixes, like everyone in their own style, kind of. Yeah,
yeah. Oh, I'll have to check that one out.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll have to
yeah.
look into it. We're also going to play Aku Aku, which is the other track. So these two new tracks, are these going to form something else, like a body of work, like an EP or an album, or what are you? Is it just you just have these two tracks and you wanted to kind of get them out there?
Yeah, this is just a two-tracker. Yeah, I just wanted to have them out there because sometimes I get stuck in a track and then they are never finished. And if I release tracks, then I cannot touch them anymore. So then they are finished for me. Um, Aku Aku was more of an experiment with more polyrhythm, dubby vibes, kind of. And then I sent it to a friend, and he was like, "Kev, do you know back in the days the game Crash Bandicoot?"
Yes,
Uh,
I remember
and
that.
you know, the mask. It's
Mhm.
called Aku. So he said, like, it reminds me of Crash Bandicoot's the game. So I was like, okay, then I'll make kind of a reference to the name. I
Yeah.
call it Aku, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't make like a full album with it, but it's more of a standalone EP. But for me, it's more like an expression also to show people that electronic music is for me more than only four to the floor club music. Because this also goes out of the grid sometimes, so it's pretty hard to mix.
Hmm.
I think for most of the people, and especially like those jazz things are, I don't know, it's for me going over the border, and maybe it also does for others.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is that
So
is that sort of how you, in a way, make your music kind of live and breathe in a sense of like it not being so programmed, you know, having that kind of element of surprise?
yes, yeah, I try to. So mostly I jam, and then if I jam, then I think like, okay, if I play like just the same chords all the time, it's getting quite boring. So I try to put it a bit more in a song structure to really develop like in a certain peak and wave to follow a certain storyline, so to say. Um, and I mostly also try to innovate every time. So if I try first like a certain arrangement, and the next time I try the arrangement quite different, and then the next time I try it even more complicated or not, or I never try to copy my own recipe. I think it makes me a bit bored to do the whole trick at the same time, or
Yeah.
the same whole time.
And you say it's still a hobby. You said earlier it's still a hobby. But
Yeah.
is it still like a side thing then? Do you have another job, or like is it still, is
No,
it the main thing, but it's yeah.
it's my thing, but my approach is more to see it as a hobby, because if I see it more as a profession, I box myself into a certain thing, then there's also more pressure on my shoulders to succeed in certain ways of releasing or whatever. So if I see it more as a hobby, I never get the pressure of succeeding a certain thing, and then I still have the freedom to produce the music that comes out of my heart, so to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So I
it's
think this is me. Yeah. It feels a bit more free to call it a hobby instead of a job.
yes.
Yeah, more of a mindset.
Not
Yeah.
so much pressure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think we live in a time, don't we, where people, you know, inherently you put a lot of pressure on yourself in any kind of career. So I think that's a nice way to just, yeah,
Yeah.
not feel stressed.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you working on then? Have you got a lot of tracks kind of ready to see the light of day, you know, at some point in the next year or two? Or like, are you working towards a new live show, or what's going on in the Budakid camp at the moment?
At the moment, last week I was thinking about it. Like I have plenty of tracks laying around, but the thing is, I will not, or some of them will not see daylight. So maybe I can put them in a nice live set. So the idea I had yesterday or 2 days ago, I will work on a new live set and try to record it in a nice way. So then I um, um, let the music flow through my live set instead of only releasing the material. So then I also can put in sketches that are not finished. I can play a bit more around with the music already made. Like for example, Ringo Bingo, I can reform in the structure or put a different solo line on it. It gives me a bit more freedom to play it in a live set instead of doing a DJ thing. And I think it's also, it gives me a lot of joy at the moment to think about it and also to play it. But yeah, I'm still like figuring out kind of how to set up my thing. But I think I'm getting there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the tracks, they are out on, am I right, on the 5th of March? Is that this Friday?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exciting. Do you get excited still about release dates?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, get it out there. Love
Yeah,
to hear it.
it's more like if it's out there, then I don't have to worry about it anymore, and that's kind of a feeling of release in a way also.
Yeah.
So then it's done, and I can make the next step to other music,
Yes.
letting this behind and go further. So
Yeah.
that's a nice feeling itself, and keeping my mind also free for other things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna play it. It's been really nice to catch up with you, and
Yeah.
thank you for the new music.
Thank you
So
for
it's a beauty. It's come at a good time. These tracks definitely come at a good time for us as we kind of are feeling a little bit more hopeful. I think, you know, hopefully over the next few months things are going to start shifting a bit in a better direction than where we've been. So these tracks are definitely a lovely accompaniment to that feeling, I think. Cool. So we're going to finish off with this. This is Aku Aku from Budakid, brand new music coming out on Exploited on Friday. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much as well.
Thanks.